Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We will be covering England advancing past Switzerland on penalties. We'll be previewing the match between France and Spain. We'll be previewing the match between Argentina and Canada, and we'll also be reacting to the Netherlands coming back to defeat Turkey to move on to the semifinals, the final four. And make sure you stick around for the end of the show, where I'll be giving you my thoughts on some of the top headlines going on in the soccer world, which includes the United States officially dropping their official Olympic men's roster. Before we start off, I'd like to ask that you like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions that come in during the show. So to ensure that your questions get read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donations link at GSMCpodcast.net with your questions. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also really helps grow the show. So again, the link is GSMCpodcast.net. We have to start off. It's coming home. It's coming home. It's coming home. Football's coming home. It's not. It's not coming home. I can assure you that. But England were able to get past Switzerland over this past weekend. They were able to defeat Switzerland after penalties in the game that was very stale, very boring to watch. England went down 1-0 in the 75th minute with Prevail and Bolo getting on the end of a cross from, I don't know who it came from actually, I forgot. But Switzerland were able to get the 1-0 lead, and then England make a few attacking changes immediately after, some reactionary changes from Gareth Southgate, and they go on immediately to get the equalizing goal in the 80th minute, 79th minute. Bukayo Saka is able to show his quality and his ilk to cut on to his magisterial left foot and just ping it into the corner, kisses it off the post, just like that. 1-1, game on. And that was enough to push England into extra time, into penalties, where England's penalty kick takers just showed their class. I mean, you're talking about number one after number one after number one in terms of penalty kick takers at their club. You're looking at the likes of Ivan Toney, Cole Palmer, players like that. Jude Bellingham, Trent Alexander-Arnold. They're not the number one penalty kick takers at their club per se, but the quality that they have. I'm missing someone. No, they had three substitutes who took the penalty: Cole Palmer, Toney, Trent, and then they had Saka. They had Saka take one, another number one for the team, and a lot of pressure on him in that moment, taking a penalty. Huge amount of pressure on him. I came into this game hugely rooting against England because of what I think about the England fans. But even in that moment, seeing Bukayo Saka step up, I was like, man, I don't want him to miss. I don't want him to miss. Just the pressure that is upon him after what happened at last European finals, the abuse that he got, even thinking about his family watching it in that situation, the pressure. I mean, the not the pressure. There's no pressure on them, but the fear that they must be going to, watching their son or their sibling or their cousin or whatnot, or even just a close friend, watching him step up must have been extremely nerve-wracking, but he was able to stay composed, and it showed a lot of his character, in my opinion. But yeah, England, all their penalty kick takers just so much aura amongst them, so much aura and class, and none of them ever looked like they were gonna miss. None of them ever looked like they were gonna miss. They were all absolutely sensational penalties, unsavable. Ivan Toney doing the no look sort of penalty. I mean, just absolutely brilliant type of pen. Yeah, but we didn't come here to react to penalties. We came here to react to the game. And again, another desperately disappointing performance from England. Extremely disappointing performance. No real domination of the game. No real sustained period of pressure, constant pressure, and many chances created. Very, very reactionary, not in the way that they performed, not just in the way that they performed, but the way the manager made changes. In that second half, it was coming. It was obvious that Switzerland were on more of the front foot, and it seemed like it was a matter of when and not if that Switzerland was going to find that breakthrough. And despite all that, it took Gareth Southgate until afterwards to completely change it up. And he was just very reactionary. And they were able to change it up, and he got lucky because the quality of players was able to pull through. But why wait that long to make the changes? Why don't you do it a lot beforehand? Because there was a long period of sustained pressure that the Swiss was putting on England. Switzerland was second to every loose ball. Switzerland had more energy levels in terms of pressing. The back line of Switzerland, Schär, Akanji, Rodriguez, they were not tested at all. There was no real threat in behind whatsoever. Akanji had Harry Kane in his pocket. It was just a pure domination, in my opinion, for that period of the second half. But then England, they got on a natural left back. They played Bellingham and Declan Rice as just a normal pivot like they normally do. They brought on the likes of Eze, Palmer, Tony got his way on a little bit later too, and Luke Shaw got in his way on as well, and they just completely changed the game. And for the rest of the after Switzerland was able to get the goal, and they were able to get the equalizer. But then once they were able to get the equalizer in extra time, the game goes to extra time. And then England, they just go back to their conservative shell. And it seemed like Switzerland was the team that had that opportunities in extra time to get that, potential winner and to sink England. But which is really disappointing in the fact that England in this tournament have never been a team that was on the front foot in terms of taking the game by the scruff of the neck. Never been. Everything has been reactionary. As soon as they score a goal, they go back and sit back and defend for their lives. Once they get a goal, there's no real feel of, okay, let's go get a second. They never make themselves even a threat to go get the second, and that's the alarming part. You get a first and you make it 1-0, and you attack and you test the goalkeeper and you just can't find the second. You live for that. But when you end up getting the goal and you just sit back and you defend just naturally and you bring everyone 10 yards further back, and then it makes it virtually impossible for you to play out just because of how pin deep you are, it just shows major concerning signs again from England. But at the end of the day, they put themselves in a position, by hook or by crook, by luck or by no luck, they put themselves in a position that they're 2 games away from winning a European Championship. They're a semifinal, and they're not going up against a Spain or a France or even a Germany. They're going up against a Netherlands that have had weaker players than past Netherlands team. It's a beatable Dutch team, definitely. But this is also going to be by far the best team in terms of quality, the best team that the English have faced. I think Switzerland was a test for them, a very, very big test. that they passed, yes, but Netherlands has more individual quality than Switzerland to make England pay. But they're not the likes of a France, Spain, Germany. They're not a top national team. I think they fall in that sort of second tier. And yeah, it's really unbelievable the luck Gareth Southgate has had to reach a semi-final with the football that they have played. Being literally 30 seconds away from one of the most embarrassing moment in Gareth Southgate's England tenure, the most embarrassing moment since that debacle in 2016 against Iceland. It would have been an unbelievable amount of criticism that they escaped. They escaped that, not just to win that game, but now they find themselves in the semi-final. It's crazy to me. Their luck, for me, has to eventually, it eventually has to get tested. Eventually has to run out. Whether or not it comes against the Swiss or not, or against the Dutch or not, will be very, very interesting to me. In terms of the stats from this game, I forgot to say the stats. 13 shots for England, 11 shots for Swiss, 3 shots on target for England, 3 shots on target for Switzerland, 52% possession for England, 48% possession. I'll say this though, Switzerland has been able to dominate games. When you look at what they were able to do against Italy, Hungary, they've shown their ability to dominate a game. England did not get dominated in this game. Now, there was periods in this game that England were really, really suffering, but England did not get dominated, which, I think that's how low of a point we are for England, that not getting dominated in a game, it's a plus. But it is what it is. But they're now in the semifinals, and, at the end of the day, they're 2 games away from winning the whole European Championship. So that's just how it works in football. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we will preview the game between France and Spain.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
We'll move on to the second part of the show. Second segment, we will be previewing the game between France and Spain. Very interesting game coming up. As this game will kick off tomorrow, a game between 2 teams that came in with high expectations, but both have performed much differently. Spain have came in and completely meet expectations and have succeeded expectations, not only in the way that they've played, but how they have dominated, how they have been flexible in terms of winning in different ways, in terms of winning against different sort of styles, in terms of showing their ability to be clinical. Against Germany, they showed that they could be under pressure and still survive a game. against Croatia, they showed that they could dominate the game despite not having the majority of possession. They've shown they can completely take over possession of the game and completely outpass and outplay a team in the way that they showed against Italy. They showed that they can go goal down and still come back, which what they showed against Georgia. Just been a complete tournament from them. In my opinion, they've been absolutely brilliant this entire tournament. And then on the opposite side, you have a France team that's looked very shaky in the fact that the goals have not been there. They haven't scored a single open goal this entire tournament that came from a French player. Besides an own goal, they haven't scored a single open goal this entire tournament. It has not been good enough in terms of the attacking end. They've defended very, very well. They've defended brilliantly. But the strengths of French teams in the past, under the Shams, has been defend brilliantly, don't give up any goals, and when you have your opportunities to play in counter, to play in transition, take advantage of the pace and quality amongst the players in the attack, in transition. But they have not done that. They've been very, very shaky. They have not created much opportunities. Kylian Mbappe, he has been nowhere near it. He's been completely off it. Antoine Griezmann, he's been off it as well. Having some chances, especially earlier on in the tournament, not doing well with them. Ousmane Dembele, his end product has been abysmal despite good general play at this European Championship. Thuram has been off it as well. In general, the French attack has been way off it this European Championship, and it's been very, very alarming. But they're still here. They're here the French way. They got here after a deflected own goal against Belgium late in the game, and then they took advantage of Portugal's in penalties to reach the semifinal. And it seems like there's a price that they need to pay, kind of like England and sorry about that. But and if there's any team that will make them pay that price, will be the Spanish, will be a Spain national team. They have the players, they have the quality. They've been performing like a team that really has the ability to make a team that's been very concerning pay. And it'll be interesting to see if they can get it done. It'll be very, very difficult. I think Spain need to be alarmed in the fact that there is a lot of quality in transition that France could take advantage of. There will be plenty of quality in transition that France can take advantage of. That they can make Spain that they can make Spain pay, especially if Spain do dominate possession like the French want them to do, like the French will invite them to do. And Spain get comfortable with that possession and start pushing guys forward and leave space in behind the Spanish back line. There is pace and ability amongst this French attack with the likes of Dembele and Mbappe to really make the Spanish backline pay. And Luis de la Fuente needs to be clever in the way that they attack France and don't leave too much space in the back. They cannot do that. That's an interesting tactical part of the game that I'm looking forward to. And as far as France, how long can they really sit back and observe the pressure and allow Spain to dominate and how can they allow Spain to have possession but also limit their ability to create chances? Because Spain are going to come in and they're going to have possession, as France will be fine with them doing. But how does France make sure with all the possession Spain have that they don't allow them to make good chances out of it? How does France allow that to happen? Very interesting. Very interesting to see that point of view too. For me, it is out of the two semifinals. I think this is the one with the most quality, in my opinion. Particularly not even close, honestly. Big talking point. Spain. They have had a few players that will probably not gonna be available in this game. With Carvajal getting the yellow card suspension, he ended up getting a red card at the end of the game, but he really got that red card because he knew he was gonna be suspended for that next game. Pedri, he went out injured in that game as well. And then I believe there was another suspension. I forgot. Oh, Lenormand, he's not gonna be available as well. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's probably gonna be a Navas, Nacho, Laporte, Cucurella back line, which is definitely not. I believe out of the opening game against Croatia, only one of those players, Cucurella, was in it. Carvajal, Lenormand, and the second center back was, I believe, in that opening game against Croatia. I have no idea, actually. Let me go back and check real quick. Who was the second center back in that opening game? It was Nacho. Oh, yeah, Nacho was starting in that. So it was Nacho and Cucurella, but Lenormand and Carvajal, they are not going to be starting. And then I believe Danny Olmo, you bring him in midfield, which really think he gives you a little bit something different. I don't think it's necessarily any a downgrade from Pedri. Danny Olmo has been big for Spain in major international tournaments in the past, and I think he has more of I know he has more of a capacity to get a goal, to make a run into the box and get a goal. He has that ability from midfield. So does Fabian Ruiz to an extent. Goal scoring is not an issue from the Spain team, the way it is for France. But last time France played Spain in a major international competition, a competitive match, it was that Nations League final that France were able to get the best of Spain. But it's different now. Saliba, he's gonna be very, very important in this game. Saliba and Upamecano. Upamecano in terms of not making a mistake. Saliba in terms of handling Morata and providing protection for he's mistaking me in my for Theo Hernandez. Yeah, for Theo Hernandez going up against Lamine Yamal. Especially if Theo Hernandez does bomb up the field, there might be a few moments that Saliba gets isolated, as well as Upamecano with Nico Williams. I think those are the matchups that Spain could really take advantage of, that French back line. If they can get some of their versatile wingers isolated against some of the French center backs, they could really, really, really take advantage of that and really make them pay. So that will be very interesting. That's something I'm looking very forward to. I'm also interested to see, does Spain really, really extremely dominate the possession? Do France allow Spain to really have huge control of possession like Spain is capable of doing? Or does France take a different approach to it and they try to take a little bit more of a progressive approach? I'm interested to see that as well. I think it does come if France does get a breakthrough early. I think we'll see a very defensive display from Deschamps in in the French crew. But I think of, the game stays 0-0. I think they'll take more of an initiative in the game because they don't really want to get pinned in, and it takes one deflection or one opportunity to really, get to cause major trouble for Spain, and that will be very, very dangerous. I have Spain winning this game. I think they have been the best team in this tournament, and I think their quality will get through. But I think France, you cannot sleep on France. You definitely can. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we'll be previewing Argentina versus Canada.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Before the break, we talked about France versus Spain. We move on to react to preview the Copa America semifinal between Argentina and Canada. We actually get a rematch of the opening game of this Copa America. Argentina and Canada faced off against each other in their opening game, where Argentina were able to get the 2-0 win over Canada. Argentina, in terms of the statistics of the game, they had 19 shots to 10 of Canada, 9 shots on target to 2 for Canada, 65% possession for Argentina compared to 35% for Canada. But Canada did have a few opportunities here and there to get at the lead. They couldn't take advantage. Julian Alvarez was able to get the breakthrough, and then Argentina were able to seal it near the end. And yeah, it was an interesting game. There was a lot of controversy regarding the field of that game, as that was the opening game, and it was played at I believe that game was played at the Atlanta Stadium, and yeah, there was major talks on the game regarding the pitch. It won't be like that in this game. This game will be played at MetLife, and we hope the field will be better there. It seems like as the tournament went on, a little bit less talk has been on the field. A lot of it has to do with the fact that the football is getting more and more important. So the field talk is going away per se, but it still probably is a problem. But that's something that at the end of the day, it's it's CONMEBOL and their issues. But as far as this game going on, I definitely think Argentina are the favorites. Argentina, you could argue, are lucky to be here in the fact that it took them that penalty shootout to get past Ecuador in a game that Ecuador created more opportunities. I believe Ecuador's expected goals was double the amount of Argentina. Argentina were hanging in there, and it really thought when Argentina suffered that equalizer at the end, I thought all the momentum shifted towards Ecuador, and I really thought Ecuador was going to win that penalty shootout just based on the way the momentum shifted at the and then Messi missing the penalty on top of that, made me even more sure of this happening. But at the end of the day, Argentina were able to pull through. Dibu Martinez, Emiliano Martinez, whatever you want to call him, he was able to pull through He's a brilliant, brilliant goalkeeper. He proved it yet again. And it's absolutely sensational what he was able to do. That he's able to do in penalty shootouts, in terms of getting into the players' heads, in terms of his trash talk, just in general, his presence, and he was able to get Argentina past. Now they take on Canada, a Canada team that took advantage of, red cards and their ability to play in transition. And, they've done well for themselves under Jesse Marsch to reach the semifinals. They really have. They've gotten past. Reached farther than Brazil, which there's context to it just based on the teams that they played. Correct, but they have been able to get past Brazil, and that's absolutely sensational for them, for Jesse Marsch and the crew. But now they take on Argentina. They get that rematch. And I'd say past that Argentina game, that opening game, I think every team that they've played after that, they have had more individual quality compared to the other teams. When you look at Kyle Larin, Jonathan David, Alphonso Davies, I think individually they've had more quality than the teams that they've played, than every team that they've played post that Argentina game. But now they go back to playing a team that has more quality than them again in Argentina. So they will be up against it, and it will be very, very difficult. I think they're going to try to play a little bit more defensive, a little low block, and play purely on the counter with the pace of Alphonso Davies and Jonathan David, and try to play in behind this Argentinian back line. And they could cause that Argentina back line trouble. I think also Messi, he is nowhere near the level of him, whether it is old age, whether it is the injury that he suffered earlier, and you could tell his mobility is completely hampered. You saw the way he performed at in that Ecuador game. He lacked mobility. He couldn't get around. He looked very immobile. You could tell he's injury hampered. And that would be a big, big factor because, Messi was instrumental in that opening game against Canada in getting that result, despite not taking advantage of a one-on-one he had at the end of the game. He created the pass, or he made the pass that broke the Canadian back line for the opening goal. Didn't get the assist, but that led to the first goal. And then the second goal, he directly assisted that with the ball played in behind to Lautaro Martinez. And it's shown that even though Messi's not at his best, he's still very, very pivotal in terms of creation, the chances created amongst this Argentinian team. And he's very, very important because without Messi, this is a team that does not create much going forward. They can really be one-dimensional in terms of what they can do going forward without Messi. We saw that against Ecuador. We saw that when they played with a Messi that was not at the levels, a injured Messi, that Argentinian attack couldn't generate anything, and they ended up suffering. And Ecuador would happen to be the main protagonist in that game, and they were able to get the equalizer. I think if Messi is not at his best, I think Argentina could be in trouble. Maybe not necessarily in this game because it is against Canada, but definitely in the final. I think, but yeah, I do like to see if Jesse Marsh does make some adjustments in the way he approaches the scheme compared to the way he approached it the first time. Um, he talked about how they didn't do well enough with Messi last match. He also called it a privilege for Canada to play Argentina again and Messi. And, you know, he did confirm that there will be a defensive plan for Canada to limit how much control Messi will have on Tuesday. He came out saying or Jesse Marsh did, we didn't do well enough with Messi last match. He was able to run free at our goalkeeper too much. This is what Marsh said. He also said, we won't man Mark, but we will certainly place an emphasis on how to defend him, how to keep a track of him. How to keep track of him will be really important, and the things that make it difficult for him, like limiting his space, is our number one thing. We don't want him to be free at our back line like last game, but we all know he's the greatest player to ever play the game. The respect we have for him, and certainly the stadium, will reflect that tomorrow, but it's always a privilege to play against a player like him. Argentina's going to have Messi in their starting 11. That's for sure. There was questions on whether or not he should start or not. Lionel Scaloni saying he will start. He confirmed it. Marsh also continued to say, our players will be up for it. The challenge is big. We'll see if we can do better than what we did in the first match. While Scaloni was talking, he said, we don't know if facing them the second time is an advantage or disadvantage. It was like with Ecuador, the game was completely different from our friendly. Every coach take notes and correct mistakes. Every coach and team will do something. We will be behind the ball and try for them not to execute their plan. They have players that are important physically and technically good. They have a coach that transmitted an aggressive style of play. They pressure you, make you play the outside. They're a good team that has complicated things for several teams. And we hope tomorrow things go our way. With our hopings, we hope to make things go our way tomorrow. But yeah, I think Argentina are... Oh, sorry, there was another quote actually that Lionel Scaloni said. The goal when one plays this tournament is to reach the final and play all possible games. First, we accomplished in reaching the semifinal, and we hope to accomplish tomorrow the final. I think Argentina have a knack of getting these sort of games, of getting it over the line. I just think that's what Argentina does. So I think Argentina are going to pull it off. I think it's going to be another 1-0, maybe 2-0 type of game. And Argentina will see themselves in the final. That is my prediction for you all. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we'll react to the Netherlands coming back to defeat Turkey to move on to the Final Four.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
We move on to the next segment where we will react to the Netherlands coming back from behind to defeat Turkey to reach the Final Four. Another very, very good game, which has been plentiful at this European Championship. Plenty of amazing games. This one no different. Netherlands was able to get the win after falling behind in the 33rd minute. Another brilliant ball played in by Arde Güler. into the path, the 34th minute, into the path of Samit Akaydin on a second ball on a corner set piece opportunity. Second ball gets played in. Multiple players open on the back post. Akaydin was able to head it through, and once they got that, it just seemed like, wow, could this be Turkey's day? But Netherlands, they got themselves back into the game. They played some football, I think around the 50th minute mark or so. They turned it on, and they showed us a level that they didn't show us so far up to this point in this European Championship. They did in that Romanian game, but going down 1-0 and having to respond in this sort of moment is a little bit different level of pressure. And they were able to show us how they can do it. They created a lot of opportunities. They brought on De Jong and changed it up, went very, very direct, kept Memphis Depay on, which ended up ultimately being the correct decision despite his poor first half, playing off De Jong, which I thought was a brilliant decision from Ronald Koeman, who has had a lot of criticism from this tournament, and some of it is justifiably so. I think some decisions he's made has been very, very questionable, but in terms of their performance in this game, the choices that he made in this game, I thought he got it spot on. Keeping Depay in and going and having Depay play alongside De Jong and not doing a like for like substitution per se. And they were able to be a little bit more direct, and it changed it up. It made Turkey suffer in that period, and Netherlands, they really, really turned it on. They were able to get the breakthrough finally on a ball played in by Depay, a very, very good ball. De Vrij getting the head of it, and with the momentum that they had and how well that they were playing, it was kind of inevitable that they could get the second goal, and they did through Cody Gakpo on the back post. A brilliant ball get played in by Dumfries. And by the way, that's another decision that a lot of people have been questioning, the Dumfries Frimpong decision. Playing Dumfries, he plays in that ball in behind. Dumfries plays in that ball from the right-hand side. And Gakpo doesn't get on the end of it, but he's at the right place, right time. It leads to an own goal from Mert Mulder. But it was through the pressure of Cody Gakpo trying to get on the end of it on that back post. And then the Dutch takes the lead, and now you're thinking 2-1, all the momentum is your way. You could kill off this game. But then the Netherlands ended up getting sucked back, and Turkey were able to hit a gear that I didn't think that they had in that sort of stage, in that late stage after what they suffered through that 25 minutes or so to start off that second half. I didn't think they had it in them, but they were able to turn it on like I didn't think they were capable of. They created a lot of opportunities, some very, very good opportunities that we done better on. And it was really, really good, brilliant. The energy levels. Number one, they've made every game at this European Championship just so exciting to watch. They've played some brilliant football, and they're in the quarterfinals for a reason, and they did it through the football that they play. They have some real quality, but they also have a lot of heart, and they did not give up in that sort of moment. And the determination and the mental resilience to go down 2-1 in that manner of conceding 2 late goals, and then to be able to turn it on and go after the game yet again, it's a brilliant mentality, and the opportunities that they created. I mean, some of these will haunt these Turkey players. Get the Durun, Van de Van, the clearance off the line. I mean, ah man, I mean, a very good clearance off the line, I might add. What an opportunity that was. And then immediately after that, they had another opportunity on the back post that got blocked by a Dutch defender again, who are really putting their, everything on the line in those last few minutes. It was great defending at the same time. I believe it was so it was Van de Ven that got the initial block, and then I believe the second block, I think, was either De Ligt or De Vrij, one of those two, and it took them putting their everything on the line in those sort of moments, because Turkey were creating so many opportunities and were so unlucky. They also had another opportunity on the back post. I believe it was Tosin. He couldn't get a proper contact on it in a one-on-one duel with Dumfries. They also had another opportunity was Tosin again, with the ball being played in from the left-hand side in the 91st minute, and it was an absolutely brilliant save by the Dutch keeper. An absolutely brilliant save, with the ball bouncing right in front of him, being able to get down low, amazing. And then Çalhanoğlu, he also had another opportunity that was blocked by Dumfries. And who knows, with Çalhanoğlu, you see the way he's able to fire in a ball with accuracy and pace, the way he did against Czechia. That block could have been crucial, because that could have been potentially going on goal. But again, they just weren't able to get it down, and they fall. And you could see immediately after the game the emotions, because Turkey, they put a lot of effort in there. And they played brilliant football. And they had their opportunity to get the equalizer, and the chances that they were able to create to end off that game will haunt them for a very, very long time. But they couldn't, because you never know if you can get back to the stage. You don't know if you can get back to a quarterfinal. It's not guaranteed. It's a very, very difficult, especially for a nation like Turkey that's not at the quality of a Germany, Spain, France, or England. Getting into these, semifinal, quarterfinals type of stages is not a guarantee. And they weren't able to get it done, but they've had a very, very good Euros. I think they've surpassed expectations. Last European Championship, there were the disappointments. I think this European Championship, they've been far from it, reaching a quarterfinal, the way that they performed in the quarterfinal, and hats off to them. As far as the Netherlands, we've seen from the group stages to this point, which is very, very good. Very, very good. Now in the semifinals, you have nowhere to hide. You'll be playing a quality team in England, or at least a team with quality players that can make it difficult, and any weakness amongst this Netherlands team will get exposed. They're not playing the likes of a Turkey or the likes of a Romania. So any sort of weakness, which we've seen through the Dutch teams, their inefficiency in front of goal with Memphis Depay, while he's, Cody Gakpo, he's been efficient, but Memphis Depay, being your number 9, that could be an issue. I think when Van de Ven is not in, when it's just De Vrij and Van Dijk in the back, I think they were very susceptible to getting runs in behind. I think there is opportunity to get in behind them, which amazes me why Van de Ven, and the amazing pace that he has, he's not starting for this Dutch team. It really does amaze me, the quality, the season he had at Tottenham, the pace, because he can protect the Netherlands and really provide a somebody that can be a sort of, what Kyle Walker does for England, being like a safety man. He really could do that, and he's also a brilliant defender at the same time. Now De Vrij, he does have the experience, he has the age, he's 32, he's done it week in, week out at a top level in Inter Milan for a very long time now, but he does not have the pace that Van de Ven offers. Maybe one-on-one he's a better natural defender, but Van de Ven, he does not have the pace Van de Ven has. And Van de Ven, I believe, does complement really well with Van Dijk at this point in age. With the ACL, post-ACL, he's not as pacey as he once was. He can't track runners the way he did in his prime days at Liverpool playing there. So a guy like Van de Ven, don't know how he's not starting, and I think that's something that with the way Van de Ven performed in this game against Turkey, I think it's something that Ronald Koeman will really think about, and it's a decision that he might have to come down to. I think Netherlands need to be clinical if they want to go on to get past England. They have to be clinical. They have to take advantage of when the opportunities come, and they have to have a good ability to play in transition, because I don't think they have the quality to go and dominate a game against these nations left. I don't know if they have that sort of quality, especially with Frenkie de Jong not being in there. So we'll see. But overall, a great win for Netherlands, and no matter what happens at this point, reaching the semifinal, I think it has been a successful tournament for Netherlands. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we'll react to some of the top soccer headlines in the soccer world. Final topic of the day coming up. We react to the top soccer headlines going on in the soccer world. First of all, I think the biggest headline has to be the U.S. men's Olympic soccer team. They announced their roster for the Olympic Games at Paris this summer, headlined by Walker Zimmerman, Miles Robinson, and Georgi Mihailovic, the three overage players that will be involved in the squad. A heavy MLS influence amongst the squad, which is not what most of us U.S. soccer fans want to hear. We know MLS is a league that's trying to grow and trying to really be the, really trying to get into the next level. But at the same time, we are practical, realist fans, and we understand the quality and the levels of Major League Soccer at this point in age. But the squad is announced. I think this is the first tournament that the U.S. men's team has been in the Olympics since 2008. If you do the math, that is a 16-year gap since the last time the U.S. men's Olympic team has been, a men's soccer team has been at the Olympics, which is really a disgrace, but at least we were able to get it done this year. The Olympic soccer team is restricted to players under the age of 23. But as I said, there's 3 overage players that are allowed, which will be Mihailovic, Robinson, and Zimmerman. Um, this is Mitrovic, the coach for the U.S. U23 team, coach that'll take charge at the Olympic Games, came out saying, "Today is a special day for us. We announced our roster and we are excited to go to the Olympic Games. We are going there after 16 years of not qualifying on the men's side, but also we are very excited that we are going to be together with our women's team after almost 2 decades. Obviously, as an overage player, on the men's side, my cycle, we didn't qualify." This is what Walker Zimmerman said, by the way. "That's when I thought my dream is over. I won't have a chance to play in the Olympics. And then as things materialize later this year, just getting this opportunity is amazing. It's something I've always watched growing up, and it's something I've always wanted to participate in. And again, I thought that was over, and so I'm excited. I can't wait to get going in France." We know the situation with the Olympics and how it's not really looked at the penultimate in terms of international soccer. And, because Olympics don't qualify as an official FIFA competition, club teams aren't required to release the players, which does make it tricky. When Mitrovic was asked about that, came out and said, "We all know that it was actually a really difficult process in the last 8 to 10 months, first talking to the clubs and trying to get all the players released. Yes, there are challenges, but whoever we end up with, it was with the roster that we really believe that can represent us in the best way possible. And I feel very, very good about the team that is going to Paris." Now, obviously, we're not sending our best. Most teams are not sending their best. You see the likes of Giovanni Reina, Yunus Musa, Florian Balogun, Giovanni Reina, Florian Balogun, Josh Scally, Chris Richards. I'm trying to think. There's plenty of players that we are not sending to these Olympic Games that are age eligible. But there's a lot of other countries that are not willing to do the same thing. If you look, Spain, they could really create a super team with Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams, and the crew. But, France, the same thing. But despite France not being able to create the ultimate, they're taking a really, really strong team and some strong overage players in Mateta, Alexander Lacazette. That's a grave game that the U.S. has in that opening game. A very dangerous game that could really go bad when you look at this team. Because this team, I'm going to read the roster later, but this team really lacks any sort of attacking ability. I don't see where the goals come into this team. I think midfield, they're okay. I think defensively, they're solid and center backs with the 2 overage players. And they also have one of the U23 center backs that I like. But as part of the fullbacks not strong. Right back, almost not existent. But that's the problem with having an 18-man squad as well. You are limited with the things that you could do. 15 of the 18 players that are part of the squad have made appearances for the U.S. men's soccer team, which is good. And Zimmerman is a veteran. He played in the 2022 World Cup, and he started in games in the World Cup, and he has 42 appearances with the team. So that's good. 10 of the 18 players are with MLS clubs, as I said. And by the way, I talked about how the U.S. take on France in the opener in Marseille, actually. It will be 2 days before the opening ceremony. They also take on New Zealand, and then the final game will be against Guinea. And the U.S., they announced their team will be Patrick Schultz, Gaga Salina. That'll be their 2 goalkeepers. The defenders, Maximilian Dietz, Nathan Harriel, Miles Robinson, John Tolkien, Caleb Wiley, and Walker Zimmerman. Midfield, Gianluca Busio, Benjamin Kromashki, Jack McGlynn, Georgi Mihailovic, Tanner Tessman. And then their attackers are Paxton Aronson, Taylor Booth, Duncan McGuire, Kevin Paredes, and Griffin Yeo. Kevin Paredes really being the potential star of the squad. And then they announced their alternatives, which will be Josh Atencio, Jacob Davis, Johan Gomez, and John Pulskamp. So yeah, interesting roster there. Alvaro Morata, he came out and said there's no respect for me in Spain. He said it's probable that Euro 2024 will be his last tournament with the country. And he also, talked about the chances of him leaving Atletico Madrid, saying in Spain there's no respect for anything or anyone. Morata, when talking about this, saying it could be my last tournament with Spain, who he told the newspaper to. It's a possibility that I don't want to talk about it too much, but it's probable. In Spain, it's hard for me to be happy. Without a doubt, I'm happier outside of Spain. I've said it many times. Above all, because people respect me in Spain, there's no respect for anything or anyone. The other day, people said I was crying on the touchline because I've been given a yellow card. What nonsense is that? I was crying because my country with me as a captain had got into the semifinals. I could never criticize someone who was crying because of that, but I'm criticized when I cut my hand off to win the Euros. I tried to enjoy the tournament, which could be my last games with the national team, and in the future, what will be. Maybe one day they'll even miss me. Each day the moment for leaving is closer. That's why I enjoy it. That's why I cry. That's why I'll cry whatever comes next, for good or for bad. De La Fuente came out saying, I agree with them completely. The treatment a star like him receives is totally unfair. He leads by example in everything he does. I am in disagreement with anyone against Morata. I position myself on the side of Morata as a person and a footballer. He is our captain and he has our support. Marseille and United are in talks over Mason Greenwood. Manchester United are in advanced talks with Marseille. They're trying to loan him with a potential clause for a permanent transfer that could put Greenwood, that could see Greenwood go to Marseille. The 22-year-old just spent the last season on loan with Getafe, where he scored 10 goals in 36 appearances, and he's now set to return to United for preseason this week, with having 12 months left on his contract. And it'll be interesting to see what Mason Greenwood could do at Marseille if they're able to get that loan deal over the line. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again and have a wonderful, wonderful day.